Hello, my name is Dave Donaldson. I'm the voice behind the videos that you've been listening to on YouTube. I hope you've enjoyed the majority of them. I enjoyed doing almost every one of them, even including the dues that I had to pay. This is the first of the last 8 that will be put on YouTube. That leaves another about 21 or so stories left that were in the book, and you can get it either on Audible, on Amazon Books, or Audible. This story is Carl falls out of his chair. Now, at the time, I was a partner in a design build engineering company. I called on a variety of different people. Most of these clients were very nice people, and some were plain arrogant. This man, Carl, was just plain arrogant. There was a time in the ethanol industry that was developing new uses for ethanol. That's how we ended up with gasohol, or the 15% that goes into gasoline. A bunch of farmers had joined together to build a small plant. Although they were making ethanol for use in gasoline, they had a little twist on to make their real money on the byproduct of corn, the corn mash, full of protein. The mash was normally used for animal feed, but with the proper treatment, it could be considered a source of human protein. It was a good idea, and they had the parameters covered in the base plan. My interaction in this fiasco was simply to design an ongoing process and install the process as well as make the equipment for the plant. Pretty good sized job, pretty good job. During one of the many meetings with Carl, he was sitting in one of those overstuffed, old-fashioned wooden office chairs behind a huge desk. He was an ex-football player and a huge man. For many months, he had browbeat me about 100 times different ways. For many months, he had challenged every word I had to say. Even though he didn't know the first thing about what he was talking about, he had tried to intimidate. He questioned my abilities, and he made sure that I knew he was rich and he flaunted it. While sitting there one day, Carl was going about the business of verbally beating me up over an issue that didn't make any difference one way or the other. He had his big feet up on his desk, kicked back in his chair, and thinking he was in complete control, I was sitting in a position directly in front of him. They made sure that his chair sat higher than my chair, and of course he was a bigger man, and that was meant to intimidate me. Well, if you've read the stories or heard the stories, I don't get intimidated real often. So basically, we had sat there, and he was going about verbally beating me up, and he had his big feet up on the chair. He made sure that he was in an intimidating position, and all he did with that was just piss me off. He'd been raging for about 15 minutes, and I never took my eyes off him so as not to let him intimidate me. Suddenly, in one of his arm-flailing moments, I heard a crack. With his feet up on top of the desk and leaning back on his chair, I was looking at his face at 1 second, and the next second, all I could see was the bottoms of his feet. I thought that was a scream. With his feet on top of the desk and leaning back, the chair had broken in mid-range, and he tipped backwards upside down. For the next few seconds, all I could see were his legs kicking, and all I could hear was cussing. Trying the best I could, I got up real quick, and I held back a busting laugh, and I just kind of turned it into a quick smirk. I got out of my chair quickly and ran to the side of the desk. It was a sight. He was all tangled up in the arms of the chair. He was rolled around on the floor and finally caught a foot under the side of the desk. And when he rolled over, he twisted his ankle. This just about got me. More cussing, more flailing, and grabbing his ankle in pain. I finally lost it. I laughed out loud and had a problem stopping. He was mad, embarrassed, and hurt. He looked at me eye in the eye, and I had just tears rolling down my arm. Every time the scene flashed back in my mind, I'd start laughing all over again. I asked if he was all right and offered my hand to pick him up. He looked me eye in eye and yelled, "No!" Okay. Finally, he stumbled to his feet, got another chair, slid it under the desk, and proceeded to talk down to me just like nothing had ever happened. I can tell you to this day, I have no idea what he had to say then. I just kept a mental picture of his feet sticking up in the air. After that day, I was never intimidated by him again. When he started talking, all I had to do was imagine his feet pointing straight up or toward the ceiling, and I never heard a word he had to say. Due to some internal problems, the plant was never built. They eventually ran out of money and made some poor decisions. But this project was one of the projects that I loved being there, because after that incident, there was nothing they could say to me or nothing they could do to me that would intimidate me any further. So I guess that's what you get for being arrogant.